I am so proud of the work that we have done with many of the organizations here, with the particularly on the caregivers. You know, usually politicians only respond to where there are votes to be found. Now let me tell you, because some of our friends from other communities may not know how the caregiver program operates, but the caregivers, they're not voters. They're not citizens. They're not even permanent residents when they first get here. They are vulnerable temporary residents, and so in the political equation, for a lot of people, they don't count. The Filipino community, the Caregiver Resource Center, the churches and others in the Filipino community raised for years their concern about the vulnerability and the exploitation of caregivers, about the fact that some of them, after they got to Canada and worked hard, got sick and were then told they could not become permanent residents or bring their family members to Canada. We heard stories of abuse, stories of employers taking away their passports, stories of employers making them do things they were not supposed to do, that are not in their contracts and for which they were not paid. And that's why we took action. The previous Liberal government did nothing. Nothing. They ignored the issue because we were talking about a powerless group of vulnerable people who couldn't be asked to vote for them. So they didn't matter. But we listened. I consulted all across the country, and we came up with a package to fundamentally reform that program and to strengthen and protect the rights of the caregivers. We eliminated the second medical requirement by adopting the Wanatahata law. We put in a binding contract so that employers will know what their obligations are and caregivers will know what their rights are. We began overseas counseling of the caregivers, so when they come to Canada, they know what their rights are and who to call if they're in trouble. Of recruitment fees and of healthcare insurance premiums on the employer rather than on the caregiver. And we will continue to monitor the program. And we've also brought in a policy so that if there are abusive employers, they will be put on a blacklist and will never be able to invite a caregiver in the future. Yeah. Now, we look forward, if there are problems that still need